Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Career Fair Prep event. We are just going to wait a few seconds to let some additional students and participants join us before we get started. So thank you so much for making time today to join us. All right, well, we will continue to admit people as they join our session today, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to first start with, let me get to my screen. With introductions, my name is Christy Scanlon, and I serve as the Employer Relations Coordinator in the Career Center here at Grand Valley State University. I have with me today one of my colleagues, Megan. Megan, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Megan Rickson, also in the Career Center, and I work a lot with the marketing and communications in our office, but I also, just prior to doing this role, was a career advisor to the Seidman College of Business. So I know that world as well, and we'll be jumping in with some of that information too.
Great. So Megan and I will spend probably 30 to 40 minutes sharing information about the upcoming virtual career and internship fair, and more specifically, how to use Handshake to register for the fair and connect with employers. But before we get started, I just want to share a few kind of overview, what we call our Zoom meeting norms. I'm sure by now you're all used to hearing this. As you are comfortable, we do ask that you keep your video on. It is nice as the presenter, not just looking at a blank screen. It is nice to engage with faces, but that's only as you are comfortable. So if you are not in a space or a place where you want to have your video on, that is okay. We do ask, though, that you keep yourself on mute just to help with any background noise. But you are welcome to unmute yourself if you do have a question. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. You can also put it in the chat and we can interject and answer those questions throughout. If you do unmute yourself, please introduce yourself so we know who it is that is speaking. So we are recording the session today. We really record it just to share with other students who might not have been able to attend during the session today. So this session will be recorded. So with that, I'm going to quickly go through the agenda. And while I'm doing that, if you could get out your smartphone and hold your camera up to the QR code, that is the way that we can check you in. So we know who is here today and we can do follow-up with the participants. So you have the QR code there. So go ahead and grab your phone if it's handy. We will also have this up at the end of the presentation as well. But while you're doing that, we're going to spend our time today just doing a quick overview of virtual fairs. We've been doing these now for almost 2 years, so it feels a little bit very familiar, but there's always something new that is taking place within the platform. So just a little bit of virtual fairs overview. Then I will pass it off to Megan, who will be doing a live demonstration in Handshake to show you how to register for the fair, how to search for employers, how to sign up for either one-on-one or group sessions. So that will be a live demo right within Handshake to follow along with. And then we have some tips for success and some upcoming career prep events that you might want to take advantage of before the career fair next Thursday, a week from Thursday. And then, of course, Q&A time. All right, so I'm going to click off of this screen. So if you didn't get the QR code yet, it will be up again at the end of today's session. So virtual fair overview. So really, virtual fairs are intended to be to achieve the same goals that an in-person fair would achieve. And it's connecting students, candidates, alumni with employers to network and to talk about jobs and career opportunities, internships, and so on. The difference is, of course, it takes place in a virtual space versus an in-person event. We are using Handshake as our platform for this fair, which is the same platform we used for the fall fair. So if you participated in the fall fair, it will be very familiar. Handshake offers 2 ways for you to connect with employers, and that can take place either in a group session or a one-on-one session. The main difference is a group session is longer, it's 30 minutes with other candidates or students in that virtual space with you. A one-on-one session is just as it sounds. It's one candidate, yourself, with one recruiter in a virtual meeting space. And those are preset for 10-minute segments. So those are the two ways that students can engage with employers. And we will go into much more detail throughout our session today. We have found that students really enjoy virtual career fairs, and there are some really great benefits to that. There are no lines and there's no talking over people. So if any of you previously participated in our large career fair that takes place in DeVos Place, it can be very overwhelming walking into that exhibit hall with thousands of students and employers, and it's noisy. And the virtual fairs allow for those no long lines, and you're not standing around waiting to connect with an employer. Because you are signing up for sessions in advance, it helps you prepare in advance for those conversations, which can be really helpful in communicating and engaging with employers. And also for those pre-planners out there, it allows you to plan ahead. You can sign up for spots, you have your schedule all set up for the day, but it also leaves room for those folks who might last minute decide, I think I want to participate today. There is the opportunity to do drop-ins, especially in those group sessions. And with virtual fairs, it's great for employers because they are allowed to connect with students from all around the country and beyond, where maybe there is an employer based hours or states away that they may not be able to travel physically to an in-person fair. So we have found that there are some great benefits to a virtual career fair. So with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and I am going to pass it off to Megan, who will start sharing her screen and do a live demo for registering for the fair and finding sessions. And if at any point you have questions, you can put them in the chat and I can monitor the chat and throw those questions out to you, Megan. Okay, so I'll pass it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. All right, so I'm going to do just a pretty brief demonstration here so you can kind of see the intricacies of signing up for the fair itself, but also a few tips and tricks along the way to help you maybe find the right employers that you actually want to chat with in those one-on-one or group sessions during the fair. So what you're seeing right now is my screen once I have logged into Handshake. So that might be step one for you. If you have never logged into Handshake before, you will just go to gvsu.edu/handshake. And that will prompt you to sign in using your normal GVSU login, like that same username and password that you do for everything else at Grand Valley. So it's pretty simple. If it is your first time, it might have you walk through a little bit of a survey. You can always skip that and come back later to that if your main goal and focus is like get me to that career fair that's coming up next week. Feel free to do that, and you can always go back through some of those other steps later. So once you get logged in, your home screen is going to look very similar to this. To find the fair, the easiest way is to just pop up here along the top where it says events. And here's all the lovely events. Now, this is every event that we have in Handshake. So this is events that we put on as the Grand Valley Career Center. This is events, you will see the summer job fair there that's put on by our student employment office. And then that's also a spot where, keep coming back to this space because you're going to be able to see when maybe an employer is hosting a virtual session. You can also see when employers are going to be on campus for tabling. So this is just a really good space to kind of be checking in with frequently. But for our purposes today, what you'll want to do, you can see it on my screen right now, the virtual GVSU Winter Career and Internship Fair. If that doesn't pop up for you right away, you can either sort by the date right here instead of by relevance, which is the default for Handshake, or you can throw the name of the event in here. Or if you click on Career Fair, that will narrow it down because these are just going to be events where employers are participating, whereas that broader list could just be, like a workshop that we're putting on or something like that. So, I'm a big fan of the search bar, so probably popping it in there makes sense for you. Once you click into the event then, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to give you all of the details that we've put in there for how to participate, how to prepare, the day of the fair, all of that good stuff. And Christy will actually share directly the link. Do you have that still pulled up, Christy, to the fair itself? We'll put that link in there. And then we also have a great career fair prep page that we will put into the chat as well. Both of which will make it even more simple to get to this exact page, but you will want to be logged into Handshake to see all of the full information about this event. So I'm just going to go ahead now and kind of sneaky over here along the right, it says register. So I'm clicking register. Boom, I am registered, you guys. It's that easy. However, that is just step one of the registration process when it comes to virtual career fairs in Handshake. And this next step is probably the piece where most students get hung up because you think, I'm registered, good, I'm good to go. But what we want you to do now is you still need to go in and choose which employers you want to meet with, either for a group or for a one-on-one session. So I'm going to click View Employer Sessions here. And that then has popped me over, if you'll notice, to available sessions here. So you do not, right after you register for the fair, you do not have to go in and schedule those one-on-ones right away. So even as you're sitting here watching this prep event, like feel free to just go ahead and register for the fair right now. Make sure that's taken care of. And then after this presentation, get in there and schedule some one-on-one and group sessions, because that's how you will actually be participating in the fair. So this available sessions tab is what you'll keep coming back to see the potential options of who you might want to meet with. So I'm just going to take this very first one, Northwestern Mutual of West Michigan. They're one of our sponsors. You can see down here that it lists the types of sessions that they will have available. So I'm going to click in one-on-one session with Northwestern Mutual, and then it's going to show me who I can actually meet with. So this is super helpful, and I'd encourage you to pay attention. So they have two folks from Northwestern Mutual who will be available for one-on-one sessions. You can see that Leanne, she's the director of campus recruiting. So she would be an excellent person to talk to about really any and all questions you have about Northwestern, what they have available, what Northwestern Mutual does, you know, any sort of broad, probably broad all the way down to specific questions. Then you see that Alex Velting is also available, and he is a financial advisor. So he's someone who's actually, you know, a practicing professional at Northwestern Mutual. So he's probably not always the one out there recruiting. He has his own practice being a financial advisor for them. So if you're interested in getting kind of a firsthand account of what does it mean to be a financial advisor, he would probably be a better choice than Leanne, who can give you more of that overarching information about Northwestern Mutual and the opportunities they have. So I am, you know, mentally taking a look at my schedule, February 24, 2 to 6 p.m. What time works for me? I'm just going to pick 2:10 there, and then I just hit confirm. And if you can see the full screen there, registered for a one-on-one, that little green tab pops up at the bottom. And the nice thing that Handshake does for you then is you'll notice along the right side of the page here, it starts to populate the sessions that you've actually signed up for. So I've got my one-on-one with Leanne at Northwestern Mutual scheduled for 2:10. I could then go in and start building out the rest of my schedule for however many additional employers I want to meet with. Handshake will not let you schedule 2 appointments at the same time, 2 one-on-one sessions at the same time. But the kind of the handy Your Sessions little tab over there along the right is where you can kind of keep track of, all right, I'm going to do a 2:10 to 2:20. Maybe a 2:20 to 2:30 is a little fast for me. I'm going to catch my breath and schedule my next one for 2:30. So it's really nice because, you know, the fair goes from 2 to 6. You can work that around your schedule. If you have class from 3 to 4:30, no problem. You can still participate in this fair either before or after. So that's just the brilliant thing about the virtual fair platform. Is you can really make it fit for you. You also will see that alongside the available sessions tab here is your schedule. So that's just another view of kind of that right side pane where you can see exactly what you've got going on there. So while I'm at this view, this is also where you will go on the day of the fair to join your sessions. So you can see I have a one-on-one session here starting at 2:10. When it's that time, 5 minutes before 2:10, so 2:05 on February 24, I will be able to click. This will be an available link for me. I'll be able to click join video. And that will then go into, it's a native platform, it's within Handshake. So it's typically not going to pop you out to Zoom or somewhere else. It's going to be right within the platform where you will either be able to do a video chat if that's what the recruiter has chosen, or just a chat. I will say most recruiters, and we highly recommend having your video on because that's just a much more effective way to communicate than just via the chat or even just via voice. I think having that visual is also super helpful. So we'll talk a little bit more about how to get prepared at the end, but some of that's going to be, hey, you want to make sure you're looking professional as well, because we want you to have that video on during those sessions. So when you're going back in, you can come back to this, you can keep scheduling more sessions, and then on the day of that, you're going to the fair, you're going to your schedule, and you're clicking the join video. So keep that in mind. That is good. All right. I did want to show you some of the other ways to find who you might want to meet with, because you might be thinking, I mean, there's so many scenarios for why someone might attend a career fair as a student or an alum. If you are a career explorer, you might feel like, I just want to learn more about these organizations. So I'm going to go over to the All Filters tab here. Let's say I'm interested in healthcare, but I don't know much about it. I can click healthcare, and then any employer that has listed their industry as healthcare is going to pop up there. So you can see 5 results found. Now, I will say we are still over a week out from the fair itself. So our employers are continually adding in additional one-on-one and group sessions. So if you don't see a particular time slot that you're looking for, or maybe the organization you're looking for doesn't have anything available yet, keep checking back. We are also working with our employers on the other side to make sure that they're adding enough one-on-one sessions so that there are always some sessions available for you. So I'm going to unclick healthcare there. And so these filters are super helpful. If you know the industry you want to explore, click industry. The job type is also very helpful. If you are in the internship search process, I would go ahead and click internship specifically, because that's going to filter out anything that isn't specific to internships. You can then do employment type, full or part-time. I wouldn't necessarily put that if I was looking for an internship. I would probably leave it a little more broad, but with job, if you want to put full-time job, that makes sense. But of course, it's going to pop me out here. Not back in. There we go. Now you can see me do it again. I'm going to events. I'm finding the fair. Ooh, I'll just go back a second. I went to events, and now that I registered for the fair, you'll see it there as well under my schedule, which is helpful. And then I can click schedule sessions right from there. So Handshake does try to make this as easy as possible for us. So, right, we were looking at the filters. Job type, internship, job, grad school, employment type, full or part-time. And then major is also a very useful tool to use as well. That wouldn't be the only way that I searched, because employers do self-select the majors that they're seeking. So you might find you're a history major and you want to go into banking. Don't worry about putting history as your major there. I would look more at the industry of banking then at that point and finding employers in that way. So multiple ways that you can search to hopefully find some of the organizations that you're looking for. And one other piece that I wanted to show you. So we looked at the one-on-one sessions. If you look here at Blue Jay Solutions, you will see they not only have these one-on-one sessions available, but they also have a group session from 4 to 4:30. So if I click into that one, it'll give you a brief overview of what they're going to cover from that 4 to 4:30 time slot. And you wouldn't be able to schedule any one-on-ones during that time. So keep that in mind. And that's going to be a longer chunk of time. Typically, employers really can use that time how they want. So they might use it as a drop-in room where you can kind of pop in, chat with a couple people, ask a question, pop out. Some of them might be giving kind of more of an actual presentation during that time. So you can get a little bit of a sense, most likely, when you're kind of reading a little description there. So they're going to go over the logistics and supply chain role they're hiring for. So if you are curious about that, you know that that would be a really good group session for you to attend. And you would do the exact same process. You would just hit confirm there, and then that's going to show up over here under your sessions as well. And you always kind of know if it's a 10-minute one, it's going to be a one-on-one. If it's more like a half an hour, then that's going to be a group session. So you can kind of have that in mind. Okay, I'm looking at my notes to make sure I've covered everything I wanted to on that piece. So before I pop out of this demo mode, I am going to show you one more thing of how to look by our career communities. But before I pop out of Handshake, either Christy, if you have anything that I missed, or if anybody has a question, feel free to let me know right now.
There are no questions in the chat, but I just wanted to clarify around the group sessions. Can you talk, do students have to stay for 30 minutes, or how can they schedule group sessions within their one-on-one schedule?
Right. Sorry. I don't know if I understood your question.
Oh, I just wanted to make the point that students can schedule group sessions, but they don't have to stay for the full 30 minutes of that session. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that the students understood you can join that session and stay for 10 minutes and then pop out to another group session, or maybe you have a one-on-one session. They're scheduled for 30 minutes, but that doesn't mean you have to stay for that full 30 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick stop share and pull up a separate website. Here is our prep website. So this, I believe Christy has already thrown in the chat. One thing I wanted to point out specifically on our prep website, as you scroll down here, you can see participating employers by career communities. These are lists that we have pulled together for you. So I'll just pop into the business and entrepreneurship one, for example. Any organization, when they created their account in Handshake or registered for this fair, was able to choose which career communities they, are most likely to be recruiting for. So you can see this is a really long list of business and entrepreneurship companies. If you click on any of these, it's going to take you to their Handshake page. So I'm just going to choose Target there just for fun. We'll see. It pulls me to Target's profile page in Handshake, which will show what jobs they have available, give you a ton of information about that organization. And if I keep going all the way to the end, it will also show you upcoming events and career fairs that they are signed up for. So there you go. We know they are signed up for the GVSU career fair. You can see I'm already registered. Handshake is all linked up. So you can then click into that fair, again, search for Target, sign up for a one-on-one or a group session with them as well. So keep in mind that those career community lists are there for you. And if you haven't signed up for the for a career community, this is the list of the 7 career communities that we offer. And by signing up, you actually will receive a monthly newsletter, and we have career community websites and lots of good ways to get connected to a specific industry and area of interest. Yeah, just a really, really good things to start being involved with in addition to attending this career fair. So just wanted to show that because we have pulled those lists for you, and that can come in pretty handy. All right. I think that's it for my demo, unless there are any questions before we move on.
If you have a question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Nope.
So good job. Thank you so much for that
Yeah.
live demo. Megan just shared the career community piece, and to join, we do have another QR code in the top left corner. If you scan that, that will take you right to a form to fill out to join a career community, to get all that good information about employers and events that are happening on campus around your career interest. And you can join multiple, especially for students who are undecided. You can join every single career community to help you narrow down what your major will be and what career. So with that, just want to share a few tips to be successful in the days leading up to the fair, and then of course the day of the fair. Completing your student profile is really, really important to help make your interactions with employers really meaningful. So I just wanted to, this is my student demo account, and you can see I do have my picture included. It's not required, but it is nice. Just like in LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, people want to see pictures. So you can have your picture included within your Handshake profile. You can also see my education information is listed as well. That is really helpful for recruiters. They're just curious where you are in your program, what your current major is. Maybe you're in the process of changing your major. You can talk about that in your session as well. And then of course, any relevant work experience or volunteer experience. Whatever your resume may include, it's really nice to have that in Handshake. In fact, you can upload your resume and Handshake will autofill those parts of your profile. So Handshake makes it really easy. You don't have to type all of this in. You can upload your resume, which we'll show you in a minute. And then of course, what you don't see in the bottom of my screen is any organizations that you might be a part of, or relevant coursework or volunteer opportunities that you've done. It's nice to see that profile. For employers, they might ask you questions about that as just a get to know you thing. So it's really, really helpful to have that as complete as possible. The other piece about that is you can have a complete profile, but unless it is set to be visible to the Handshake community or employers, they won't be able to see that. So I wanted to quickly go through the steps to make sure that your student profile is visible. So you can see in the right corner, you click on your profile picture, and that will bring a drop-down screen or a drop-down menu, and you can click on settings. Once you click on settings, it will come up this privacy piece, and you can set it to community, which is recommended. That's kind of the broadest share available. And that means anyone in the Handshake community can see your profile. That is required if you sign up for any group sessions that will need to be that community level of access. If you are just signing up for one-on-one sessions, it is required that you at least have it marked to employers. We do recommend, even if you just change it for the day of or the days leading up to the career fair, we do recommend that community setting that gives you the most flexibility to register for one-on-one sessions, to register for group sessions. You can go back and change your privacy setting to private after that if that is your preference. But in order for employers to be able to see your information, to see your resume, to see your profile, we do recommend that it is set to either employers or community. And again, you can do that just by going to your profile in the settings feature. Uploading your resume is really important as well. Just like if you were at in-person career fair, you would probably have copies of your resume to hand to the recruiter or the representative from the organization. Since we are in a virtual space, you want to make sure that your resume is included as part of your handshake profile. And again, how you do that is you go to your profile setting in the top right corner. We'll bring down the drop-down menu and you go to documents, because a resume is a document that you want to upload to your profile. And you can see, you can just click on that add new document button. And you can see here, excuse me, in this example, it's Susan Proctor resume. She's a colleague that worked in the Career Center. So I'm using her page as an example. You see that her resume is loaded here, but it's important that it's marked as visible. Again, that's so the recruiter can see your resume materials just like you would want them to see it in an in-person fair. So in this case, you would want to click on that visible button and add the document, and it will be part of your handshake profile, and employers will be able to see that. A few things about updating your resume. We do have some great resources within the Career Center, and Megan can add these links into the chat. But we do have a great resume guide that is found on our website that is really helpful with some great examples of resumes and resume samples. We also need to do a little plug for our Career Lab that we offer every day within the Career Center in person, as well as virtual hours in the evening. And that is both in our Allendale office and student services and our the Pew campus in the DeVos building. So you can stop in, no appointment is needed. We have great advisors and career connectors who are able to review your resume and share some feedback. This is a great way to prepare for the career fair. So you have your most up-to-date, current, and relevant resume loaded as part of your handshake profile. We also have a great upcoming opportunity this week, specifically around resumes, that I'll share in just a bit. I do want to take a few minutes just to talk a little bit about what we call practicing your pitch, or you may have heard it also referred to as your elevator pitch. And we felt that this was important to include in this training because you have 10 minutes with a recruiter, and that goes by very, very quickly. So it is really helpful to practice your pitch. And what is your pitch? Well, it's about a 30 to 60 second introduction that you can share with the recruiter to share some highlights of who you are, maybe what kind of opportunities you're looking for, and what unique skill sets you bring, or areas that you are interested in exploring. So what's great about a pitch is it doesn't have to include all of that. You don't have to speak really fast to get all that in. It really is an invitation to engage in further conversation. So we wanted to share a little bit about some things that you can think about now to help practice your pitch for the virtual career fair. And the first thing really is there's 4 steps. The first one is really who are you? So introduce yourself, share your name, maybe what year you are in school, your current major, maybe something unique about the course of study. Maybe you did a research project or something along those lines. It's really nice to then tie that into something that you could offer and as a potential future employee, or maybe a summer intern. This could be some research projects that you've done, or maybe you are a leader in a student organization, or you've had relevant experience in volunteering. Something that you can offer that organization is nice to include as well. Really, the why you are here is important too. And by here, we mean I'm participating in the career fair today because I'm looking for a summer internship, or I'm looking for my first career after graduating. It could also be an event, or you're applying for a job, you're interviewing. So here can mean different things based on the context of the conversation. But for the career fair, it's a great way for you to say, I'm interested in this organization because, and one of a really strong way to help you stand out as a candidate is to do some research on the organization and know what they do and what communities they serve, and kind of what that industry is, and how your experience meet the needs that you anticipate they have as an employer. That is a great way to stand out in a very positive way to the recruiter. And then what happens next? I hope, to continue this conversation, maybe we connect on LinkedIn, maybe it will lead to an interview. You don't have to say all of these things. These are some of the things that you can include because again, 30 to 60 seconds goes by very quickly. But it really is just a nice introduction and overview about who you are as a candidate, what you're looking for, and what you're hoping to get out of this conversation. So again, that is practicing your pitch. I believe Megan has a link. She probably already put it in the chat with some great information on that you can save as well and review on your own time. A few things to think about before the fair is, of course, registering for the fair and signing up for sessions. As Megan said, it is really important to continuously check back as more employers are registering for the fair and they continue to add sessions. Will be continuing to do your research. So as you are researching an organization, maybe they weren't an employer that you were interested in at first, but after learning more about what they do and who they are, you want to go ahead and schedule that session. So that's kind of an ongoing continuous process that you can actually do up into and throughout the duration of the fair. That's one of the nice things about the virtual fair is you might not be registered for all of your sessions, but the day of the fair, and maybe it's 3 o'clock during the fair, you can still sign up for sessions as long as those employers have those one-on-one times available. So continuing to check back often, see what employers have added schedules, research those employers, practice your pitch. As Megan showed you the career community page, you can click on any of those employers. Again, it will take you to their Handshake employer profile, which you can find some great information within that. You can go to their website. You could search them on LinkedIn. There are so many resources that you can do to really educate yourself about the employers before you are meeting with them during the fair. As I mentioned, we do have some great prep events. That website was put in the chat. And of course, you're participating in the prep event today, so you already get a gold star for doing that. But I do want to mention that on Friday, we are hosting a resume review day with some of our industry professionals and our employer partners. This was that resume prep that I mentioned earlier. This is such a great opportunity for students to practice engaging with employers in Handshake, in this virtual platform. And it's a great way to have employers give you feedback on their resume. We have career advisors that are willing to do that. And that's what we do every day in Career Lab. But how great that we have employers who are willing to serve as that resource for you as well. So we have, and you can sign up for this within Handshake. And Megan, I'm hoping maybe you could put the registration link in the chat.
I did. Got you.
Thank you. You're already on it. We have some great employers. We have Herman Miller. We have DA Blodgett St. John's. We have Deloitte Consulting. We have Fifth Wheel Freight. We have Sherman-Williams. Great employers who are willing to spend 10 minutes with you to review the resume. I want to let you know that this is also great practice for the virtual career fair because how you engage with Handshake on the resume review day is the same way you will be doing it during the virtual career fair. You sign up for 10-minute sessions. And during that time, the employer will review your resume and share some feedback or thoughts on what they like or maybe some things to tweak. And that is a great way for you to practice talking with an employer and getting that feedback and help building your confidence so that when you meet with them or a different employer on the day of the career fair, you have that experience. Of course, if you're not able to participate in the resume review day, you can join us anytime in the Career Lab and we can do some of that prep for you as well. I do want to mention that the resume review happens, it's scheduled between noon and 2 p.m., but you just schedule a 10-minute session. So you don't have to be available that entire time. We're just 10 minutes, or if you want to schedule with multiple employers, you're able to do that as your schedule allows. I want to make sure I'm looking at time. Okay, a few things for the day of fair. I think, again, we're all getting a little more comfortable with virtual platforms and engaging with people in virtual spaces. But just a few reminders, it is really helpful to find a quiet space and some place that has a professional background or a background that is very neutral and not distracting. That is very conducive for a really engaging conversation for you and for the employer. You want to make sure you have a good internet connection. If your residence hall or maybe your off-campus apartment or home might have some spotty internet, or maybe there's lots happening and you're not sure about that, you can certainly come onto campus, maybe reserve space in the library or different meeting rooms if you want to make sure that you have that strong internet connection. Earphones or a headset, if that's comfortable for you, we certainly recommend that. As Megan mentioned earlier, video, these conversations with employers will take place typically within a video platform. So expect to have your video on and make sure that you are dressed professionally and kind of, as they would say, dressed to impress for your video sessions. Of course, be on time. As Megan mentioned, when you join the videos, you can join up to 5 minutes early. The employer will get a notification that you are in the waiting room, and they might be finishing up with another candidate, or they might be available and you might get some extra time with that recruiter. So we certainly recommend showing up about 5 minutes ahead of time as your schedule allows. Some students like to book those back-to-back appointments. And that's fine if that's how you want to schedule your day. Some students like to have a little bit of a buffer in between. I just wanted to also add that the day of the fair, Megan showed you how to find the fair and access it, and that's how you join your video. But if you are having any sort of technical issues, or maybe something happened and you're running late and you just need to talk to a person, there is a Join Career Center Help Room tab that will be located right underneath the name of the fair. This is an example that I pulled from Handshake. So that would say the GVSU Winter Career and Internship Fair. And that is a link that will take you right to a Zoom room that we have staffed with our Career Center advisors who are there to help answer questions, maybe send a message to the recruiter that you're running a little late or you're having some tech issues. So that is a nice, easy way. It's right within Handshake. You don't have to check your email for a different Zoom link or whatnot. You can join that right within the platform. Just a couple other best tips and kind of best practices is, as you are scheduling and meeting with employers, it's really important to do that next step and follow up with the employers after the fair. So you can keep a list of all the recruiters. I would certainly recommend that, of who you met with. And as you met with them and you're really interested, you can view and apply for jobs and internships through their Handshake page. Maybe they link you out to their website. That's a really great way to follow up. Again, you can message the recruiters that you met with, thank them for their time. In fact, I'll show you an easy way to do that within Handshake. And you can certainly follow up with them regularly. It doesn't need to be a weekly type of or a daily type of follow-up, but it's nice to keep track of that, because maybe right now, currently there's not a position that you're interested in, but maybe in the fall they have that position that you've been waiting for. You can still follow up with the person that you met with. So it's helpful to keep that information handy. So Handshake actually makes it really easy for you. So it's following up with the recruiter. You can do that right within the platform. So Melissa is a recruiter at Handshake, and here's an example of, hi, Melissa, it was great to meet with you. And that's just a nice way to keep that conversation going. So you can do that right within the messaging piece of Handshake. And then real quickly, we do have some additional career resources. As I mentioned, we have in-person and virtual career lab. You do not need an appointment. You can come in anytime or join virtually. Those hours are from 4 to 7. Handshake is, of course, the platform that we use for all things related to the Career Center and, of course, our virtual fair. If you feel like you need more of a one-on-one appointment, you can certainly schedule a one-on-one appointment with our career advisors, and that is also done through the Handshake platform. And now I just want to pause and see if there are any questions. There might be some in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself. That is the end of our formal presentation, but I do know that we had folks join after the session started. So I just want to point out one more time that if you haven't already checked in, if you could scan this QR code with your phone, that will take you to a check-in form. So then we can just follow up with you so we know who was here today. So with that, I will open it up to any questions. If you don't have questions and you're feeling good and you need to get to class that starts in 15 minutes, you are also welcome to leave as you need to. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We are always so excited when students engage in the training sessions. Then we know that you are really ready and engaged in the virtual fair process. I know we're all still kind of learning this, but I know students are very excited about this opportunity to engage with employers. So thank you for taking the time today to join us, and I will stop talking and see if there are questions. I think that means that we answered all the questions, Megan. We just are so comprehensive with what we shared.
Covered it all.
Which that's great. I'm glad. I'm just checking the chat just to see. You are welcome, everyone who is saying thank you.
Shout out to all our Career Center staff and career connectors who are on this
Yes, thank you.
presentation as well.
Well,
Great
thank
job,
you so
ladies.
much, everybody. I also will share that I will send the PowerPoint presentation as follow-up to all of the folks who registered today and who was here. Hopefully the recording works, and we will share that as well. So if you have additional questions, you can refer back to that as a resource. So that should be coming later this afternoon. Thank you so much, everybody. I think I'm going to stop.
Hey. I wasn't able to check in my email in the handshake now by scanning the QR code.